Hello guys, BD here from BD Gaming Channel. So today I would like to share with you another one of my acquisitions, let's say. This time also for trekking, also for going outdoors. We thought what's really important to carry with you in a, let's say, woodland environment, when you go to hike, when you go to trek through a forest. You really need to have some good metal containers with you, so you can carry water, you can boil water, and you can cook yourself a decent meal, just in case you want to have a overnighter, or you simply have a very long trek that you will definitely need to eat something, like a 12-hour trek or something like that. So the thing that I come up with, and this is only because the market in Europe seems to really lack in water bottles that are made out of stainless steel, inox, or galvanized steel. I had to go offshores again and look for a product that is on the Chinese bazaar, the AliExpress. So this is what I come up with for basically $10.99. Let's hope that the app actually charges. Alright, so here we are. This is a full stainless steel water bottle, leak proof, they say, which I'm really curious about that, because that means that the walls are really thick and insulated, which is not necessarily good for me, because I want to be able to boil water in it without exploding in my face. However, they do say that is BPA free, which means that it doesn't contain any kind of coating, which is good, because otherwise if you would have, I don't know, let's say lead coating, for example, that would be very poisonous for you. So let's take a little look at the pictures here. Of course, I have the 34 Oz, or the 1 liter bottle, and as you can see, it has quite a wide mouth, a good opening, so that means it can help you with cooking something really quickly. And of course, the characteristic of the bottle, it's a little bit rounded on the end, but that could help you if you have a nesting cup with you, also made out of some kind of steel. Preferably really would be galvanized or inox or stainless. All three pretty much means the same, by the way. So stick with me guys, I'm going to review this product and make some tests with it. So here we have the actual product. Okay, I already removed it from its packaging. I can say that it was really well packaged, wrapped in a lot of that bubble, whatever it is, you know, so it resists a lot of shock during the way. So for that one, I'm very grateful to the seller to package it really well. As you can see, it doesn't have any dent on it. Also, you can see that is untouched yet. I haven't had time to play with it, so this is the first time that I'm actually looking at the product as a whole. Alright, so let's see what features it has first. Very important, the top here, the cap has a very nice metal ring on it. You can hang it over your fire if you don't want to put it directly on top of your hot coals or your stove or whatever, for whatever reasons, because in any wood you will find some raisins. Those raisins, when they are burned, they are going to make this very sticky. You can treat this with a layer of coating with a very dense paint that is used for hot stoves, for example. I don't necessarily want to do that yet. I may consider doing that in the future, but as an option, you do have that option. Now, the mouth of the bottle, as you can see, is quite wide. And of course, it is 1 liter bottle. Alright, it's not heavy. It has a nice ring to it. And also, I will try to push as hard as I can into it to see if we get any dents. That will tell me the quality of the steel and also how thick it is. So I'm pushing as hard as I can, and we get a little dent here. that tells me that this is not very thick, so we might have some problems with it. But on the other hand, this is a good thing, because otherwise, if I wouldn't get this kind of dent in here, that would mean that this is a double layered wall, which would create pressure, which would create explosion. This is a container after all. Alright? Just as a comparison in our tests, I have also purchased for $1, only $1, the stainless steel bowl. This you could commonly found in dog food stores, for example, pet stores and stuff like that. This is obviously intended for a pet of some sort, a cat or dog, but because it is stainless steel, it almost measures a liter. It says here. I can make some measurements with this to see exactly how well this one cooks my food and my water. So we're going to do similar tests with this and with this to see how fair is this going to last opposed to this, which is actually kind of intended to cook food in it. So let's put this on their positions and stick with me, guys. We are going to boil water in both of these and then make some sort of just add water food in them. Alright, so stick with me, please. So back at the actual experiment, let's say it. I have both containers here filled up with water. This is the dog bowl and this one is our bottle, okay? For this experiment, we are not going to put the cap on. So first time I'm just going to try and see if this can actually boil water in it and it's not going to you know, melt down any of the coatings, any of the whatever, you know, because all of these are welded together. This one probably has some weld somewhere. I didn't see them, which means it's really well worked on, machined on, but they gotta have some kind of sinews or welding somewhere. Alright, so we are now looking at the boiling process. Basically, we're gonna give it about 30 seconds because my stove here is just a regular stove. It's got nothing special on it. Basically, this is my kitchen stove. So we're gonna have to wait for a normal boil, and this is also a good method to disinfect your containers. First time you're doing this, you just put water in it, you boil it really hard, you let it boil. Actually, you let it be beyond the boiling point, which is 96 degrees, I believe, for water. And you just want to reach 100 degrees so the water actually steams out of your containers, okay? So a little steam is going to come out of here, and then you know that everything inside is dead, basically. All the known bacteria, pathogens, and so on. Alright? So stick with me. We are going to be back for the final boiling process. Hopefully you can hear it. The bottle is now making some very weird noises while the water is boiling in it. The bowl has absolutely no problem, but the $10 bottle actually makes some weird noises. Hopefully you can hear it. I'm gonna stay back a little bit now because it might just blow up. The weldings could be so thin that they could blow up at this point because the water is almost boiling there. So I'm gonna stay back a little bit here. Now I'm just so you can hear it, and now I'm getting back here. Alright, safety first, guys, always. So, amazingly, so far, none of the containers broke off. We can actually, if I can zoom in just a little bit, We can see now the steam coming off the dog bowl, and we have a nice rolling bowl inside here. Alright, so this is the dog bowl, okay? So I'm pretty sure now this is sterilized completely, no bacteria left inside the container. Now for the bottle, and I'm still a little bit worried about this, hopefully it's not going to blow in my face while I record this. We're still a little bit off of a rolling boil, so I have to leave it just a little bit more to do its stuff. Alright, and also I have discovered where the weldings are. They are inside. Hopefully you can see it. So this is the welding, and it goes all the way down to the bottom of the bottle. Alright, so stick with me, we're gonna get back to it in just a minute. We have finally achieved the rolling boil inside the $10 water bottle. Alright, so we can put this one off as well now. And steam is coming out, so we know that the water actually has more than 96 degrees. It's close to 100 degrees now, which means that all the bacteria and known pathogens have been eradicated from the water inside the container. This is very important to remember, guys, okay? If you really want to disinfect your water, then you have to leave it a little bit beyond the boiling point of water, okay? So the bottle didn't crack. I'm pleasantly surprised about that. It's well worth the $10 that I paid for it. The weldings are still in place. I don't see any kind of deformation of the material, which is really great. Now to the cooking part. What we are trying to achieve here is to actually let both containers cool down a little bit. We are going to throw out the water in the dog bowl. We don't need it anymore. We're going to keep the water in the $10 water bottle. We're going to use these little vice pliers to actually manipulate both of these containers, because if you are out in the wilds, you're probably not going to have something like a another means to manipulate hot metal. So you need something like this, or a multi-tool. Of course it could work as well, but we're going to use this to manipulate the containers. We have this one of the gripping our stuff here. Hopefully I'm not going to burn myself with this. I'm throwing away the water now. Putting it back here. Okay. Now here we have our water. It's still a little bit hot, of course. We just finished boiling it. So I'm just gonna grab what we're gonna pour inside the bottle now. Give me 1 second. As I said, when trekking, your backpack will not allow you to carry much in regards of food, so you'll have to have something that is really compact. I'm actually going with something like this. This is something like ramen, and it's actually quite delicious and gives you a lot of carbohydrates for a long trek. As you can see, this is what it has inside of it, right? So let's see if I can actually put this inside the bottle and cook it. Of course, I could do this with a dog bowl, and I could just use this to carry my water, but this is a test to see how much functionality can you get out of 10 bucks. I'm gonna put as much as the pasta, the ramen noodles inside there as I can. Something else that you might consider carrying with you in the wild would be one of these heavy-duty stainless steel spoons. So you can use actually this to shove everything in there really tight. So got a little bit more here. I'm just gonna put everything. I don't want to waste anything from this package. And of course, the thing that adds flavor to everything that we put in there, to all those noodles, is actually this package here that should contain some kind of a gravy mix, let's call it. Some fat with some vegetable oils and some, well, let's call them flavors. In this case, how can I show you this? Everything is dried out and transformed into a powder, so it's easy to pour in. You can also find some of these type of noodles, ramen or whatever, that has actually a liquid in it, so you can throw that liquid inside. This one is just powder, look. Take your spoon, the heavy duty spoon that we talked about earlier, and just mix everything in here. Really good. The still is actually almost cold already, which is again a very good addition. Also, in the wild, you can put this bottle directly on the ground. You can actually bury it a little bit, and that's going to cool the bottle even further and faster. Here we don't have this possibility, so we're just gonna let it cool naturally. Everything is mixed together really well, and now we can get back to reboiling this water. Alright, back with you shortly when this thing is cooked. Cooking our food here, I just realized something very important about this cap. So, this cap has a little silicone membrane here. Silicone in itself is not safe for human consumption. So if you put this on top of that bottle while it's boiling the water, then some particles, really thin particles of silicone might come into your water. So this cork, whatever you want to call it, it's not going to be useful for you. And look at that, it's already cooking, alright? So do not put this on top of that while you're boiling. Alright, would you look at that? That looks already delicious. I'm just gonna let it cool it off a little bit, and in the meantime the steams is just going to make everything even more soft, just like I wanted, almost like real pasta. Okay, so as you can see, this bottle actually served a lot of purposes here for us today. Now, of course, we are cheating a little bit. You cannot do this in the wild. You will never have one of these gloves with you. But here, for the sake of the video, we're just gonna take it like this from the fire and pour the content here in our dog bowl. Alright? Otherwise, I would have had to let this one hang for a little while there to cool off, and I don't want to do that because it's just time wasting. Okay? So, as you can see, everything worked out great. The food is cooked. We used this to cook it. It's everything recorded. It's not in any way damaged from all that exposure to fire. We also used one of these thing here. Let me show you up close. This is something that you actually can carry, and I'm pretty sure you can find this in any metallurgical shops. Alright, so everywhere where they can actually work with metal, weld metal and stuff like that, they can make something like this for you. The total cost is probably $1 or even lower than that, because as you can see, it's just a piece of iron welded together, so you can actually put on top of your fireplace. This works great also on top of steaming hot coals, burning wood in the forest. You can put this on top of the wood if you actually just use a couple of rocks, and you have a pretty good stand for a bottle like this, or even a dog bowl, so that way you're not going to get the bottom of your containers all sticky from all those natural obtained resins. Alright guys, thank you for watching. This was BD from BD Gaming. If you liked, please subscribe. Bye bye.